Okay, what I'm going to talk to you about is Unit 1 Ao6, and the first thing you need to do is to copy the database that is in the shared area, that is in ICT Resources 1 Mr. Labal, and then there's a folder called Unit 1 Ao6 Database, and the file you need to copy into your area is called Tunes, and that needs to be saved in your My Documents in a folder called in your folder called Unit 1 within another folder called AO6 or database, and that is where this has to be saved. So you should save this into your area before you can do anything. And once you've done that, from your area, not the shared area, you double click on the document and the database will open. This will need to be enabled, so you enable it, and if you double click on where it says customer details, you can maximize that. You then have a view of the table. So this is a list of all the customers within the database table for downloadable tunes. Now what you need to do for the pass criteria is to add a new customer. So the way to add a new customer would be you click into the bottom row of this table. You don't need to do anything on this column here, but you can add somebody into this one very simply like so. So I'm just going to start doing that, and then you'd follow it through into the other fields within the table. That's what they're called. Now you could then, if you wanted to then edit, if you wanted to edit some of the data in the database, which you're required to do, you could then very simply do that as well. Let's say there's a misspelling, so you would then perhaps change that like so, and then screenshot that. Remember, with each of these tasks, you have to screenshot into Word and say what you're doing. So for the first task, for example, was to add a new person into the database, you'd screenshot this once it's filled in, put it into Word, and say this is evidence of adding a new customer. You'd then screenshot that perhaps and say this is evidence of editing an existing customer for the database. You could very similarly right click and delete the record as evidence of deleting a customer. So those are the three things you need to do to get a pass on the database task.